Self-doubt is a destroyer of beliefs. It's a destroyer of mental and emotional health. In fact, it causes so much damage that we actually stop in the pursuit of the life that we want. And I want to give you 4 things that you can do to help yourself. Many of my clients, many of my students, as they come to this process and they learn the Quranic science of the Nafs, what they learn is that they've been stopping themselves. And if you feel as though you've been stopping yourself from your life because of the doubt that you constantly have, and it's like this, it floods in from nowhere and you don't even expect it. Every time that you want to take a step towards something you want, doubt creeps in and it creates a level of nervousness, a level of anxiety, and you stop in your tracks. Every time this happens, what it's doing is that it's actually holding you back from the life that you want. And listen, I'm a coach and a therapist, and I myself have struggled with this like for many, many years of my life. In fact, it's the very thing that leads us to what we learn. And your greatest lessons in life, you're going to learn through your own experiences, through your own challenges, through the things that you've had to overcome. Now, the Quranic science of the Nafs, it is a foundational behavioral framework. It's like how every human being works, and it's obviously based on the Quran and Sunnah. Now, as I take my students through learning about this, what they learn is some simple steps that they can use to overcome any self-doubt, any emotional trauma that they get caught in. And I use the word trauma very deliberately, because emotional trauma, it actually has this ability to set about creating a physical reaction in your body. And what that does is that it makes it so visceral, so true, that in the moment when you're having this panic or this anxiety about the future, which doesn't exist yet, what happens is that it feels really, really true. Now, why does it feel true? Because you're feeling it in your body. It's like a nervous system reaction, and all of a sudden you are in this story. It's like watching a movie in real time. As you're walking through your life, you're watching this movie and you're experiencing it. You're physically experiencing it. And this is one of the causes of, why we don't do what we want to do. This is one of the causes of why we procrastinate, why we stop in our tracks. But ultimately, you have to be willing to recognize it and see it in order to change it. But these are the 4 things that I help all of my students on as they go through a process of transformation, whether it's therapeutic, whether it's coaching. Essentially, they're learning the Quranic science of the Nafs to implement into their lives. And I want to share with you what you can use, like starting today, in your life. So here's what it's really all about. The mental and emotional state that we experience every day, whether you realize it or you don't. A lot of us, what we do is that we're functional. And we think about the functions of life. We think about, like, you have like a to-do list. If you have a to-do list, then you are functional. Like, you're following your to-do list and you're just ticking off on the list. And a lot of time it's like brain numbing, because you don't actually have to think. You just have to do. And this is good because it helps us to be efficient. But it's not good when you're trying to manage your mental and emotional state so that you can actually get over your obstacles. If you are having obstacles where you're procrastinating, you're feeling anxious about stuff and you put it off, and you're following your to-do list, what's going to happen is that you're doing the efficiency thing of following without thinking, which is what the to-do list is for. And then what happens is that we don't use our mind to see what's happening, meaning see the obstacles. And so very often what will happen is that you will get stuck with your obstacles. You will get stuck with the self-doubt. You will get stuck with these questions that you think are just natural questions to ask. You're being cautious, you're doing your due diligence and you're asking these questions. But really what's happening is that the line of inquiry actually induces doubt in yourself, or induces doubt in your future, whether or not you're going to get the results that you're going to get. And then what we do is that we back off and we think we're just being smart. We're being careful. But actually what's happening is that the doubt that you're having is creeping in the format of questions. Like, listen to what I said. It's creeping in in the format of questions. And those questions, they seem like good questions. But if they induce a feeling of, nervousness, a feeling of, almost like panic or fear, it's like a low-level panic or fear, then what's happening here is that your self-doubt is coming in the form of a question. And this is very normal. This is what happens to all of us. Like, all human beings experience this. This is not abnormal. But if you're having this a lot and you give it attention, what's going to happen is you're going to stop. So the 4 things that I want to share with you very quickly. Number 1, like, in order to override self-doubt, like, self-doubt is a form of belief, right? It's a form of belief, and the kind of belief it is the one that you don't question. It's the one that comes in and creates a little bit of controversy, a bit of a conflict, because there's this internal discomfort, but you allow it. And because you allow it, your life is created by it. Beliefs create life, right? Whatever we believe, it's creating our lives. Like, whatever you believe, it's going to create your life. We know this because, in many of the hadith, many of the ayat of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us about belief. Why? Because belief creates results. So here, the beliefs that you're having, which is, in the form of a doubt, it's creating results, and the kind of results you're not going to like. So what do we do to overcome this? Like, number 1 is what I teach my students to do, is to learn to break beliefs and to build big beliefs. Now, big beliefs in the positive, talking about your future, what you're going to create, like really creating a belief that is so big that it drowns out your doubts, right? And this will change your experience, because whatever you believe, you're going to focus in on, and it's going to create a future of your life, right? And this is true for the dunya, and it's true for the akhirah. Think about this. Like, to get into Jannah, you need to have a set of beliefs that are big, and they're like audacious. Like, people don't just readily accept them all. But if you knowingly, willingly, like by choice, choose those beliefs, they're going to create for you results. And this is actually a formula that we extract from many of the verses of the Quran, but we apply it into our lives for the dunya as well, right? Because revelation is for the dunya, it's not for the akhirah. So here's the thing, meaning that you want to be using that guidance to guide yourself through your challenge that you're having, anything that you're experiencing that really stops you in your tracks. Anything that stops you in your tracks, you've got to question that, and you've got to break that doubt, right? Break the doubt by creating big beliefs. That's number 1. Number 2, the discomfort and anxiety that you experience about your future, you've got to just recognize this as an emotional experience. Like, if you understand this is emotional, and it is, almost like this emotional impediment. It's like this obstacle in your path that you cannot see, but you feel it in your chest. You feel it in your gut. You feel it in your throat. Like, if you're feeling this in your body, then this is what we call like psychosomatic, meaning like it's, like psychologically being induced, but you feel it in your body. Like, that is a feeling that's being created in your mind. If you recognize it and you go back to like the doubts that you're having, those doubts are creating this. Right? Those doubts are creating this. So in the same way, if you create these big beliefs, they're going to create a very different emotional experience. That's number 2. Number 3 is that we want to create a future that gets us, almost like excited, overjoyed. Like, it's like booking a holiday. Like, you want to book a holiday, but you want to envisage your future, and you want to make it something exciting. Because if you have that, then it's going to pull you into the future. It's going to make you feel compelled to live according to that plan that gets you to that goal. And number 4, which is ultimately what I just touched on, is to have a plan to actualize that future. If you have a plan to actualize that future, like, it's like your to-do list. This is the thing that you can, almost like switch your mind off and just follow once you've planned it, once you've done it according to a good set of beliefs, not according to doubt. Most people, what we do is that we follow a plan of action based on doubts. And when you follow a plan of action based on doubts, you're going to create the very thing you're doubting, which is not going to be very nice. It's not going to be that nice future that you want. Whereas if you build your future and you build a plan of action, which is entirely based on your belief, the new beliefs that you build, then what's going to happen is that you are going to create a future that you love. This is the process that I take all of my students through. Whether you are training as a coach or you're going through a life transformation process, like, you've got to use this formula, 4 simple steps. If you apply it into your life, what's going to happen is that you for sure will start building a future that you love, but you can actually start loving it immediately. You can live into that future in the present moment. And that's the best thing about it. You don't get to enjoy it when you get there. You get to enjoy it through your journey. Imagine you're excited, you're loving your journey, and you're making that, daily process. And let me be quite frank with you. Like, do not expect that it's going to be a life without boredom. There's going to be boredom. Like, when you do the same thing over and over again and it's repetitive, like, we get bored. That's human nature. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you or your plan. It doesn't need to be that you're in a constant state of excitement. Because if you're in a constant state of excitement, you would be exhausted. Your body would not be able to cope with that. So Allah gives us this resting period. So the boredom that you experience is not an indication that there's something wrong. As long as you do it with this big beliefs, you really create the plan and you follow that. And as long as you do that, you are going to create a life that you love. This is life coaching with the Quranic Science of the Nafs. This is the most profound thing I've ever experienced in my own life. And thousands of students have gone through this process and they rebuild their lives just by using the stuff that I share, and they apply it. They go through their relationships, they go through, their health, their wealth, every aspect of their life. And we're able to do this. Why? Because we do not follow the self-doubt. Don't follow the self-doubt. Don't follow the doubt in your future. Like, create beliefs that totally change that. And inshallah, you are going to love your life. I'm going to leave you on that. Jazakumullah khair. Hey guys, thanks for listening in on this podcast. If you are ready to uplevel your mind, emotions, and relationships using a Quranic solution, you're going to love this podcast and what we are going to be sharing over the coming episodes. This is the most fundamental training that you're going to go through in your life. You can use it to transform your life, your mental and emotional health, your relationships, how you parent, how you are in your marriage, and truly your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you are loving this and you want more of it, click subscribe. Or if you want one of our free trainings, go to themuslimlifecoach.org and sign up for the free training. You're going to love it. I'll see you on the inside. Jazakumullah khair.